Hello friends, in the last video lectures we had discussed about how to find the shuttering quantity of footing as well as plinth beam with the help of the IS 1200 code that tells about measurement of items. So today in this video lecture we are going to discuss about how to find or measure the shuttering quantity of column. So as I had already told you guys, what I do is first I explain on paper how to find the shuttering quantity, and in the second part by considering the real-time project. So kindly concentrate, because these are the premium videos which you will not get anywhere else. Even if someone wishes to tell, so they are going to charge you huge amount. So here I am considering one plan of both footing as well as column. So it will look like this when you see it from the top. So this one is a footing, and inside this we see a column. Okay, this one is column and this one is footing. So if I draw the cross section of this one is XX. It looks like this. In the last video lecture we had already discussed about this footing part, and somewhere here we get a plinth beam also. We have seen how to find the shuttering quantity of that also. So today let's jump to the today's topic. Consider a column. I am considering a rectangular or a square type column. This one is its 3D view. So below this it will be having a footing here. This one is the footing above which we will have a column. In plan it looks like this. It will be having two dimensions. One is depth or edge, and another one is breadth. Along with that we need one more, that is height of the column from the footing to the height up to which we are willing to find the shuttering quantity. Let us say that as L or H. So it is left to us. If I consider this as H, height as H, so here I will be considering another dimension as D. B will be fixed. For our example, I am considering this B as 230 mm and H as 450 mm. So if I wish to show these in this 3D view, it is these are these dimensions. Let us consider this as 450 mm and this one as 230 mm. As we know, the mode of measurement of shuttering quantity is square meter. That means I need two dimensions, L into B or L into H, whatever may be the notation, but at least I need two dimensions. So here if you look into this one, I have to apply the shuttering on this face, and opposite of these two faces, that is the shuttering is required on all the 4 sides, so that I can pour the concrete from the top. Now here our formula will become number of columns multiply with length or height multiply with, if I am denoting this as B, sorry, I have already denoted B as 230, so this is my B. Here B is 230 mm, so here 2 times B, because 230 is on this face as well as on this face. So here it is, B is equal to 230. This is about B side. Then next, plus there are other 2 sides, that is number of columns multiply with the height will be same for the other 2 sides also, that is height or L, this notation is left to you guys, multiply with 2 times this dimension. So this dimension I am considering as D, I will write here D multiply with D. If you take here number of columns as common, so our final equation becomes number of columns multiply with, here L is also common, multiply with H or L multiply with 2 times B plus 2 times D. This is our final equation for finding the shuttering quantity of a column when there are no beams are intersecting this column. So as of now I know the formula to find the shuttering quantity of column. One more time I am writing here, so that even if you have forgotten you can see here what's the formula, that is number of columns multiply with L or H multiply with 2 times breadth multiply with plus, here it is plus 2 times height. So here for this I have chosen 230 as B and 450 as D. Now here this length or height of the column is not given, let's consider that as 2.95 meter. So this is the standard height which we commonly use for the apartments. As right now we are finding the shuttering quantity of only one column, so here it is 1 multiply with length or height, that is 2.95 here. For this example, for the real-time examples, the height of the column will be mentioned in the drawing itself. So here it is 2.95 multiply with 2 times B, B is 230, so here it is 2 times 0.23. See here our all the dimensions are in meter. Even if he has given the dimension in mm, we have to convert them into meter by dividing that by 1000. So here height or the depth, let's make this as depth is 450, that is 0.450. Now let's calculate the quantity of shuttering of this column to multiply with 0.45 plus to multiply with 0.23. This whole has to be multiplied with 2.95 and one number. The final answer what we get is that is 1.967 square meter of shuttering is required. Okay, this is how we have to find the shuttering quantity of column when there are no any beams are intersecting. But this type of column we find very rarely when we actually go for executing. So this one is the typical column which we generally found at site, so which will be having a footing, plinth beam. Let's consider this as plinth beam, and this one as the floor beam. Now to find now as per shuttering condition, so shuttering is the one which is in contact with the concrete. So if you consider only this portion, here you can see that the column is intersected by two beams, and here at the top also this column is intersected by two beams. So in this case you may think that as here there is no requirement of the shuttering, we have to deduct that much of area. So we should look into the IS guidelines, what it says in this type of case, whether we have to deduct the shuttering area which is intersected by the beam or not. So here I have opened IS 1200 part 5, which tells us about the formwork or shuttering. In that clause number 6.6 says formwork to secondary beam shall be measured up to the sides of main beams, but no deduction shall be made from the formwork of the main beam where the secondary beam intersect it. About this we have already discussed in the last video lecture while finding the shuttering quantity of the plinth beam. Now further, if I continue this, formwork to beam shall be measured up to the sides of column, but no deduction shall be made from the formwork to column casings at intersections of the beam. So this means even if the beam is intersecting the column, we should not deduct the area of that beam, that is this much area we should not deduct. Instead of that, what we have to do, we have to directly measure the height from here to here, that is top to bottom of the column, and we have to multiply that with the sides of column. So in that case, if I consider this length as again 2.95 and breadth as 230, breadth as 230 mm and depth as 450 mm, here again the shuttering quantity of this column will be same as that of the previous column, that is 1.967, because we are not deducting anything, any area which is covered by these intersecting beams. The reason is IS code, that is IS 1200 part 5, which tells us there is no need to deduct the shuttering quantity from the column in case the beam is intersecting. Because what happens is, if I deduct this much area, then it will become a loss to the contractor who has to cut this much of shuttering from the plywood or any wooden material. So it will be a loss which has to be beared by the contractor. So to minimize that one, what the IS code guideline says is there is no need to deduct that one, and that much of shuttering area has to be paid to the contractor. So after it we shall see we shall find the real shuttering quantity of column of one real-time project. Okay guys, here this is our one of the real-time project drawing, that is club. So here the drawing which you will receive at site will look like this. It will be having a name as a column layout plan, which tells us about the locations of columns, and at the top or bottom or at the sides there will be one more table, that is column schedules, which tells us about the sizes of the column and what diameter bars are used as a reinforcement in those columns. Let's consider, as of now we are not discussing about finding the steel quantity, so let's consider one of the column and we shall find the shuttering quantity of that particular column, which will also have beams intersecting that. Out of this you can choose any column, so I am considering this one, that is C5. The column which I am going to consider for the calculation is C5. Again go to Excel sheet, and there you have to make a format as shown here. So here I am writing it as column shuttering. It is column shuttering, and in that you have to mention the levels from what height to what height you are going to find the shuttering quantity. The common practice is that whatever the shuttering which is below plinth beam we measure separately, and above plinth beam we measure separately, because of the rate difference. The rate is different for foundation level shuttering and above foundation. So here I am writing up to plinth, beam, and what is the column name which I am considering here, that is C5, and location is, see the location, that is X12. It is X12, sorry, here it is X12 and Y0. X12 and Y0 are intersecting. So mention the location also here, so that the one who is going to check your bill will not get confused. X12 Y0 it is. How many number of columns are there at that location? One number. What's the length? Here length is nothing but the height, or else you can make the change here to avoid the confusion. It is length or h in meter, and here this becomes only, here this will be only d. Okay, so here it is one number. What is the length? To find the length, see in Excel sheet what heading I have written, it is up to plinth beam. So I should know what is the height of that column up to plinth beam level, that is top of the plinth beam. So for that we have to refer the cross section. So here this one is the cross section, so it will be there in the drawing which is received by the site engineers or at the site office. So here this one is the plinth beam. Here they have mentioned that the height of this top of plinth beam is 1 plus 0.45. 1 meter plus 0.45, that is 1.45. so the column shuttering which I have to consider is from the top of this footing to the top of the beam, and I am not going to deduct the area of the beam which is intersected to the column, because that one is the IS, that is what the IS 1200 part 5 clause number 6.6 says us. But no deduction shall be made from the form of two column casings at intersections of beam. So because of that reason only I am not going to deduct any shuttering area because of the plinth beam or any other beams which are intersecting. Instead of that, what will I do? I am going to consider the full height up to this up to top of the plinth beam, that is 1 plus 0.45. so write that in the Excel sheet. It is 1 plus 0.45, so it becomes 0.45. the next breadth, to know the breadth I should refer the schedule of the column. So go to C5 in the schedule of column table. Here it is C1, C2, C3, C4, C5. so here this is the C5. The given dimensions are 0.23 by 0.45. so here write 0.23, 0.45. now in the quantity column I have to write the formula. So what was the formula? If you remember that, it is numbers multiply with length, open the bracket, 2 multiply with breadth it is, plus 2 multiply with depth it is. So this is the shuttering quantity of that particular column, that is up to plinth beam. So like this, in the first first we have to find the shuttering quantity of all the columns up to plinth beam, and after finishing you can continue this like that, like this only. After finishing the quantity after finishing up to plinth beam, what you have to do is you go for finding the quantity of this column shuttering. Here you have to mention that from plinth beam to floor beam, you have to mention up to which floor you are going to find. That is first floor, second floor, third floor, like that. So it is up to floor beam. Again, for the easy calculations I am considering this column only, and it avoids the confusions also. I will keep the formula as it is. So from plinth beam to floor beam, so again how many columns are there? That is same column is continuing. And what is the height? So for height I have to again refer the AutoCAD drawings. So again come to this cross sectional elevation up to this point, that is up to the top of the plinth beam. I have already considered that shuttering. Now whatever the length or height is there above this to the top of this floor beam, I have to consider for further calculation. So here it is 2.5 plus 0.45. Sorry, so it is 2.5 plus 0.45. So here it is 2.95. For the dimensions, again I have to refer the column schedule. Here it is written from ground floor to first floor. Here it is ground floor to first floor. Along x-axis I have to see the C5. So C5 it is 0.23 by 0.45, that is up to first floor. So the dimension is also same. Here again copy these two and paste here. So you will get the shuttering quantity as 4.012. So So as you have observed here that I haven't deducted any shuttering because of the intersection of the beams. It may be a plinth beam or it may be a floor beam. So you also don't do that mistake, that is, if you deduct the shuttering quantity from that column, then it will be a loss to the company. So thank you guys. Further, for any queries or doubt clearing, you can contact on the number given below in the description. So if you have enjoyed the video, then like it, and if you are the first time visitor, then subscribe to the channel also.